This is The Gorge, a podcast where my friend Sara and I gorge ourselves on overanalyzing a game or game-related topic. The Gorge is brought to you by Patreon. If you go to patreon.com/thegorgepodcast and give us some money, we'll give you cool shit, like a t-shirt or something. In fact, Sara printed me a t-shirt and it's awesome.
Yeah.
Sara, what are we talking about this week?
Oh shit, I just tilted my head back and I lost my headphones. That's not what we're talking about. We had a bit. The bit was that we were going to talk about winter 2018, but actually, we're just talking about Horizon Zero Dawn: The Frozen Wilds.
Yes, we are.
I kind of lost it there because I lost my headphones, but I'm here now. It's good. I've got new headphones, and they don't want to stay on my head quite the way they should.
You're getting used to them.
They're huge. They are like actual. You know, people call those big headphones cans. I feel like I'm actually wearing a pair of tin cans on either side of my head right now. So it's interesting. But either way, Horizon Zero Dawn: The Frozen Wilds is pretty fucking good.
It's real good, and it was very weird, like, playing it while we were in this hellscape of a winter, because I was like, I'm going to play video games for escapism. And then the whole game is set in this Arctic frozen wasteland, and that's exactly what it's like going outside.
Yeah, at least you don't have to shovel driveways in Horizon. You know?
I mean, Aloy has fire arrows, so I think that would make it significantly easier. Like, have you ever seen that, like...
Man, does this... Yeah, the guy
who got arrested for using
a flamethrower. Yeah. Yeah, I was literally thinking the exact same thing when you said fire arrows, and then I thought, well, doesn't this game... Isn't one of the new heavy weapons basically a flamethrower?
Yeah!
Yeah, I didn't use it. I never use any of the heavy weapons in this game. I should just get that out there right now, you know?
After I did the quest, which we'll talk about later, but after I did it, I, like, tried all of them out. Mm-hmm. Like, I was like, I'm just gonna go to an area and just fire them.
Right.
And see what it's like, and the lightning one's really good.
The lightning one is good, but I can never get the timing right with the firing. You know?
Yeah.
Like, you have to kind of, like, charge it and then fire it, and I can never get the timing right to, like, make it go off when I want it to. It's always too early or too late, and I'm always like, well, shit, fuck this. So, it mostly just goes back to bows and bomb slings. I apologize, the dogs are once again wrestling because they think I'm paying attention to something that isn't them. So, yeah. That's what you hear right now.
But no, it's a really good DLC, and it was fun to get back to Horizon.
Horizon is incredibly easy to get back into, as it turns out.
Yeah, I was like, this game has some of the best, like, intuitive controls I've ever seen. Like,
yeah, and it's hard to articulate why.
You always get that weird, like, muscle memory thing when you shift from, like, one game to, like, a similar-ish game.
Yeah.
Like, if you go from one open-world game to another, like, your muscle memory, like, kicks in and you kind of interferes with that. But I didn't have that problem at all with Horizon.
No.
Which is weird because, like, I always have that problem.
Yeah, I think there's just something really, I don't even know. It just kind of feels right. Like, every button feels very smartly mapped out, and so it just kind of... I guess it's because, like, Horizon does it so right that there's no problem, and going to other games that don't do it quite as well, that's when it kind of introduces the issue. But, yeah, getting back into it is... Horizon is just, like... You forget. Horizon is just stupid fun to play.
Yeah.
Like, Horizon just plays so... it's hard to even put it into words, but just doing things in that game feels good.
What's nice about it is that, like, unlike other open world games, like, even Fallout 4, we're back into that, too. Yeah. Like, even playing that, where it's, like, Horizon feels much busier than a lot of other open world games, and I like that about it. Like, it's very packed with stuff to see and do.
Yeah.
And, like, it's you're always like, I feel like you're doing a lot more like moving around in that game than you are in like other open world games.
Yeah, I feel like part of it is that, and I haven't played Breath of the Wild, but I've listened to plenty of stuff about Breath of the Wild, and obviously I've put an absolutely absurd amount of time into like Nier and Fallout 4, both. I'm actually back in Nier as well right now. And all of those games, the combat is okay. I mean, it ranges from good, or like from great, which is like Nier, to, serviceable, which is Fallout 4. And, the combat in those games functions, and it works, and it's good, but none of the encounters really feel like they don't feel...
Dynamic?
Dynamic, yeah, that's a good word for it. Combat in Horizon feels very dynamic, because it's not just like wailing on an enemy until it's dead, or shooting at it until it's dead. It's a matter of being really strategic and knowing, well, this is a long leg, so I need to take this part out, or this is a bellow back, so I need to make an effort to blow up the canisters on their back, because that makes this encounter a lot easier. Stuff like that. A lot of games don't do that, because most game developers are not insane the way Guerrilla is, and don't have these incredibly detailed enemy models that have functioning parts, that as you knock those parts off, the enemy becomes more discombobulated, and I remember the first time I really was able to keep up with a sawtooth, and this was back in the vanilla game, obviously. But the first time I was able to like really keep up with the sawtooth and was just picking off pieces of it, it was super interesting to realize, like, oh, as I wear this thing down, it's actually becoming less able to keep up with me, because I'm inhibiting its processes, and
yeah.
That is an incredible feeling, and so combat just feels so responsive, and I don't just mean that like the buttons are responsive. I mean like the enemies respond to you, and it's great. Oh man! And going back to it is just amazing. It's just amazing.
Yeah, and the improvements they made with not only just like the handful of new machines there are to fight, and the new bows and the new skills you can get are all just like, they all add that much more like dynamic like rush of feeling you get when you play this game.
Right, yeah. Just all of the additions, especially God in heaven, did this game need more bow options. And
yeah,
because you realize after a certain point in the base game that like once you get the Karja bow, I mean, you can get the bows from the hunting lodge, and I think those are still better, but that requires I don't like doing any of those hunting lodge quests.
Yeah.
So it's just nice to have another option for upgrading, and the bows themselves are great. The overcharge effect for shooting is super, super broken. Thank you, Guerrilla.
Yeah, it's real broken, especially with the long range bow with the piercing arrows.
Yeah, and the three, and you can stack 3 arrows at the same time. Yeah, it's super, super good. It feels real good.
Glint hawks aren't a problem anymore.
Yeah, they've basically like, God, how far you come in this game too, because my first encounter with a glint hawk was just me screaming and running in a circle for 5 minutes.
Like, every time I have to fight Glinthawks, I'm just like, oh, you bastards again.
Oh, it's you. Here, let me take out the thing on your chest. Oh, look, you fell. Here, I'll stab you. Oh, fight's over. That was easy. I love it. It's great. It makes you feel like a real sense of progression that I haven't quite mastered in the Frozen Wilds yet, because all of the new things in the Frozen Wilds are rough.
Oh, there's a beef gate in Horizon.
Yeah.
There is a blocking point. It's like the first thing you do is here's your new enemy, and if you are not level 30, it's gonna kill you.
It's gonna kill you, or unless you're just like really absurdly good at this game.
I don't even know, because like I don't know how you can take that thing down without getting hit at least once. It's so much faster than you.
It's so fast, and it has the new mind spread shot, and all of the explosive fire, like it's like a ring of fire that it shoots out in front of you, and it's really hard to outmaneuver. And I'm pretty good at just like, bobbing and weaving from enemies in this game. And the Scorcher, or whatever the fuck it's called, is really hard to outmaneuver. It's so bizarre.
Yeah, I had gotten pretty good at like avoiding enemy patterns in the base game. Like, I kind of know how they move and like how far I can dodge and whatnot. But then you get this enemy that just has a completely unfamiliar just like burst effect.
Oh, it's so fun though.
Yeah. It's so exciting to take these things down.
Yeah. It's exciting because it's like, ooh, this is a new thing. I don't know what you do. Let's get in there and figure it out. And oh man, it's exciting because that first Scorcher you fight's in that kind of like an arena, like staging area. It's like a
frozen like lake, like little lake area, and it's set up perfectly to be like this kind of cramped arena area. And you have, like, nowhere to go but to face this thing head on.
Right, and it's so good, because it's so, like, it's just you and this thing, and it's a new encounter, and, oh god, it does something new, and you don't know how to handle it, and it has new tells, and, it's exciting. It's the best.
It's really good. And
it's really good.
Like, every new enemy in the DLC is fucking a rush to fight.
Oh my god, right? Like the frost claws are probably they're probably my new favorite,
The first time I saw a frost claw, my jaw dropped because I was like, that's a fucking Bigfoot.
It's a Samsquatch, yeah, for sure.
Like and then I looked like, oh, it's actually a bear, but like, no, seeing that thing first is like seeing fucking Bigfoot stomp towards you, and
yeah, it's intense.
You think like mountain lion or like rhino is intense, and then you fight a fucking bear,
like a giant robot murder bear that throws like ice at you, and it's horrible. The first time I ever saw one, I was like, I can handle this fucking thing. No, I won't. No, I don't. Nope. You just spend a lot of time screaming and avoiding attacks, like hoping for an opening.
This game does something really interesting, and I don't see it in a lot of games, where it's like, I guess the way I would put it is aggressive retreating. Like, you are constantly trying to put distance between you and your target.
Right.
Without, like, actually fleeing from the battle. Like, you're trying to stay there, but, like, keep enough distance and, like, firing arrows while rolling backwards to, like, to deal damage. Like, you can't get up in their face, but you don't want to, like, you cannot go too far from them.
Right, and I think that's part of one of the major gimmicks of all of Horizon's encounters is that they're very aggressive about closing that distance between you and them, and that's obviously because Horizon is built around taking arrow shots at enemies. And so because of this, the game is saying, like, hey, here is an enemy that is always going to try and close the distance between you and it. You have to mitigate that, and it's super, super good. And you're right, you can't run away, because the last time I tried running away from an enemy in Horizon was, so, I don't know if I've ever mentioned it here on the podcast before, but if you listen to Zero Punctuation at all, you know that Yahtzee Croshaw has a phrase that I'm in love with called a cock-up cascade, wherein, like, when you're trying to do something, usually, like, in a stealth game, like, when you fuck something up, and you're like, I can fix this, and you just keep making it worse. That's a cock-up, that's a cock-up cascade.
Yep.
Horizon has its own version of a cock-up cascade, and it's the retreat edition of the cock-up cascade, which is, oh god, I'm in over my head, I should run away. Oh no, I've run into a field with 20 more things in it. This is fine! Yeah. And then you just keep running and screaming and hoping that you will eventually shake your tail or find some tall grass to hide in and cry. Because that's just kind of how Horizon rolls sometimes.
There was actually a specific point where I was like almost about to give up, because I was in a combat, in a fight with like 3 or 4 shell walkers, and if you do not
They're
like,
mean.
if you do not get up in a shell walker's business, like, I don't. This might be weird to say, but despite there being like fucking dinosaurs and like raptors and
shell walkers are the worst.
Shell walkers just feel so much more aggressive than like anything else in the game.
They totally are. These little piece of shit crab walker things.
These
are
hermit crabs are so mean.
They're so mean because they have like long range attacks. They have the fucking shield thing, and they are just willing to just run your ass over. And they don't have the same kind of like build up that like a sawtooth has or something. So you're just. I know which part you're probably talking about too, because it's in the Frozen Wilds. There's that one the corruption tower thing.
Yeah.
That's being guarded by like 4 of them.
Yeah, it was that one, and I was like, you know what? I'm like, okay, you know what? I can't do this. I'm going to retreat. I'm going to hide out. I'm going to try to stealth it. And then I was rolling, and I kept the camera like behind me so I could see where they were.
Yeah.
And then as I'm rolling, a fucking Scorcher just tackles me, and I was like, oh, yep. That's what that is.
That's what Horizon do. That's how it rolls.
That's your cock-up cascade.
That is a definitive Horizon cock-up cascade right there.
It's so funny because like I think this DLC does it better than the base game, like where it really kind of clicked, where it's like the human AI is so chump. Like even if you fuck up, like is it they have the one bandit camp,
right?
And it's like, if you fight your way through all of the Scorchers and all of the Shell Walkers and all of the Frost Claws to get to that thing, and you fuck up your stealth in there, you're like, oh, I can just funnel them through this door and just snipe them all in the head real easy.
Yeah, it's like if you have after all of this shit with the machines in this game, if you have trouble with human enemies, you start to think to yourself, like, am I an idiot?
Yeah.
Am I just an idiot? Is that what this is? And I try to stealth bandit camps just because it's kind of satisfying.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're stupid. God love them. They're all just so stupid. Every single one of them. But this even the bandits got an upgrade in this game because they can detect you with the fucking thing, the little backpack thing.
Yeah.
And it's bullshit. So, but I mean, they're still the easiest thing to take care of. You just keep like running away and then ducking back through another way and taking more pot shots, and they are all just so stupid that it's easy. If you have trouble with bandit camps in this game, then maybe you should play a different game.
They're the most forgiving part of this game is the bandit camps.
Yeah, it's. I mean, when I was playing base game, I was just routinely going after things like bandit camps that were 10 levels higher than me. I'm like, I can fucking deal with this shit. It's just bandits, just headshots all day, you know. Because headshots are, thank God, instant kills in this game.
Which is nice.
Which is super nice, unless you whiff it and then it like sails right past their ear, and then you hear them go, huh? And you're like, god damn it. And then, you know, now they're all trying to kill you. It's fine. It's fine. I'm good at Horizon.
Oh, yeah, it's
mostly.
fine.
I'm mostly good at Horizon, I think. But yeah, speaking of like the enemy types and stuff, but mostly the bandit camp, because it reminded me, like, how great is the scenery in this game?
Holy shit! Like, you would think that, like, you'd get sick of, like, the snowy mountainous area.
Right.
But
No,
you really, really don't. And I think, like, the best part about that is, like, I was reading the art book, because I got that for Christmas. And they mentioned that, like, they tried really, really hard in the base game alone to create a lot of unique assets, like, even for stuff like rubble, or for, like, ruined buildings, or for whatever.
Yeah.
Because they want to make this feel as, like, natural and, like, organic as possible. And so you don't, like, even, like, the number of tree models that exist you're not seeing a lot of the same stuff over and over again. Everything is crafted and shaped uniquely. And it's, you know, you think you'd like, oh, it's just gonna be all white in this game.
No.
And then you fucking look at the night sky and you see Aurora Borealis.
I know. Oh my god, that's amazing.
they set up that one shot, like, and everyone takes a screenshot of this of when you first find the camp or the campsite, and you get the shot of the volcano in the distance, and it's all these nice pinks and oranges and reds.
And the volcano looks like huge and imposing, and that cloud is really impressive because it's got like lightning crackling in it and stuff, and you're like, oh man, I want this game in VR.
Everyone takes a screenshot of that and then puts it on their social media because that's the fucking, like, that's the sell shot. That's your...
Yeah. That's the money shot. That's the shot you use to convince people to play Horizon just for the visuals alone. And I mean, the locations in this game are so good because, you know, like I said, the bandit camp, I don't even know what they're called, like salt flats. It's where like Old Faithful is and stuff in actual Yellowstone, but they're salt flats with geysers, and it's just, you know, I came up this hill because I was going after the bandits, and I've never been to Yellowstone. I came up this hill and I get to this big open area, and the sky is gray and there's fog, and it's so foreign and so different from the rest of that area, and I was so impressed because I didn't expect to have a unique. Now, maybe if I had known a little bit more about, you know, the United States geology, I would know this. But as it stands, I'm just a poor chick in Alabama. What do you want from me? As it stands, you know, I see this, and I was not expecting something so alien, like I was on the surface of Mars, and it was the coolest thing. And that was the exact moment I was just thinking, man, I really did not expect all of the landscapes in this game to look so damn good.
And they even found a way to make things like fucking, like, heavy snowfall look just so impressive
and dramatic. Yeah, when you're walking and it feels so. This is again why I want this game in VR so badly, because in heavy snowfall you can't see for shit.
No, you can't. Your visibility plummets, and these thick, heavy snowflakes, and you know, if you're in a northern state, or you're in a state that actually gets like heavy winters like that, like that's something that I was immediately familiar with, but like I would never expect to see it in a video game.
To have it be that dramatic and that heavy, it was amazing. It was so, it's even hard to articulate because I think about it. I'm like, it's so beautiful. Oh my god!
I don't know how to describe Horizon. Like, I think there's probably a phrase for it, but like. Mm-hmm. Just this sort of, like, the way they take realism to an artistic degree. Mm-hmm. You know? Like, just exaggerating the colors or exaggerating the intensity of, like, the lighting. Mm-hmm. It just...
It's like stepping into a Bob Ross painting, but way more stressful.
Yeah. a Bob Ross painting full of robots.
That want to kill you. Yeah, it's fine. I love it. Because... yeah, the quality of light, that's a really strange thing, but Horizon does it very well.
The night, like, even in the base game, like, the nighttime, the way nighttime looks in this game is so, like, striking to me, and, like, I've never seen something like it in a video game, where it just, like, it doesn't turn things, like, necessarily all that dark, but, like, it adds this heavy blue to everything.
Yes, and it's so, the moon is so bright, it's beautiful, I mean...
yeah.
You could do a whole 2-hour podcast on just the aesthetics and the incredibly well-captured natural beauty in Horizon. It makes you want to go camping. It makes me want to go camping.
Yeah,
I know you don't like camping. But I play Horizon, I'm like, man, I really want to be camping in the middle of all of this right now. It's so beautiful. I mean, I probably wouldn't be able to handle that much snow because I can barely handle... you know, an inch of snow in Alabama. But it's still beautiful. Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
Because we never get snow like that here. So when I see it, even in a video game, I'm like, snow! You know?
It's so pretty when you don't have to, like, actually deal with it.
Pretty much, yeah. That sounds about right. Because even in, oh my gosh, my favorite parts of the Frozen Wilds are the big... Anytime you come up on a big open field of perfectly undisturbed snow, and all I can think in my head is, I really want to draw a dick into this. Because you could. There's a few snow fields in Horizon where you could reasonably walk Aloy into the shape of a dick. And I'm sorry for that, Guerrilla Games. I didn't do it, but I was tempted.
And then use the screenshot mode and just, like, zoom out as high as you can go.
Exactly. Oh, I should do that.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I know the perfect snowfield, too. Because there's that, the Claws Beneath.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
You know, the arena
perfect.
where you fight the Claws Beneath? It has this big open area of it's just flat with snow. You could probably get up to some mischief in there. Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. And the Claws Beneath fight was rad. We were talking about enemies and we didn't even bring that one up.
No, we didn't, because that fucking, like, that's, like, a bit of a later topic, but, like, fucking the boss fights in this game are, like, incredible. Like,
They're amazing.
They've I don't know what it is. Like, it feels like, because it's the exact same game, it's just like the DLC is just an add-on, but, like, the boss fights in the base game, in the DLC, feel more intense and more, like, thrilling than the final boss in the base game.
I think it's because they got a better grasp of a good arena. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
I think the final boss arena. Now I know why the arena for the final boss in the base game is like that. It's because it will fuck you up, and you need a lot of cover. But it's a weirdly small arena for kind of what's supposed to be this big epic fight, and the all of the arenas in the Frozen Wilds are they're nice and spacious. You have lots of places to kind of bob and weave and hide. So you get a better sense of the scale too, especially for the Claws Beneath, because you enter this big area and, you know, it's a huge open kind of like a basin, and you see this thing and it's huge in the middle of this basin, and Aloy is so tiny, and you realize, oh, this is a big fucking fight against this thing. You get a better grasp of the size of it versus you. And, I mean, it's just, it's excellent. Every major fight in this game is so well done. Oh my god.
There's the Claws Beneath, which is honestly one of my favorite boss fights, I think, ever. Like,
that's fair.
Absolutely loved that entire encounter. The nice thing about it is that, like, it took a long time to kill, but not, like, long enough that I was getting, like, aggravated with it.
Right.
Like, it was a nice constant back and forth between us that I didn't really want to end.
Yeah, it felt like a truly epic fight that you hear about. You know, like, so-and-so fought the Claws Beneath for a week, and neither of them got tired. You know, it felt like an epic story like that. And it's just that back and forth, and the running and needing to always stay on your toes, but because it can come underground at you. I mean, it's just a unique rock breaker from the base game, but it's a big rock breaker, and it's so good.
The setup and the layout of it helped make that feel so unique without it being like a unique enemy. Like, it was a different type of that enemy, but it's like it's an enemy you're familiar with, but, like, presented in a way that makes it feel that much more unique.
Right. And I really like the use of having this open world and really understanding their open world, because the walk from, like, even the closest campfire to the actual Claws Beneath area, and there's a campfire right outside the Claws Beneath, but if you've never been there before, the nearest campfire is actually pretty far away, and there isn't a lot of encounters on the way there, so that builds that tension. You're not wasting all of your ammunition on and you're not wasting your health potions and ammunition and stuff like that on mooks. You're holding on to all of it, and it's a slow walk up a big steep hill, and you know that beyond that wall is this big fight, and it's a good tension builder. And again, it helps that it's fucking beautiful, so you're just like, oh.
Yeah. the nice thing about like that walk up is that it's kind of like an elongated boss fountain.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're going to pick up, some medicinal herbs and some branches for arrows if you need them, and you're also going to get a lot of really good shots of like the mountainscape. And it makes this visually striking that as you approach this encounter that's been drummed up, and then there is this payoff that like is really successful.
Yeah, it's
as
satisfying. And when you're done with it, when you're finally done with it, it's such it's just a big breath of relief that you took this. I mean, I lost the first time, and I had to go back, and that always feels really good too, is to have to reattempt, because it's like, all right, now I know what to expect from you motherfucker, let's go. And it's a good fight.
Yeah,
it's a good encounter.
Good
it's a good everything. I love it. So yeah, and God, combat is so good in this game. I could just gush about it for days.
It's so good. There's only like a few things I would have liked to see more improvement on.
Mm-hmm.
The new bows are great, and they're so satisfying to use, and they get that nice creaking wind up when you pull back, and it's like you hear it from the speakers in your controller, and that's the best.
So satisfying. I know it's like a weird thing, but it's so satisfying.
But I do like the fact that like you can repair your robots now, which is something that like should have been in the base game. But like it's nice, and I used it more than I thought I would. But I still wish there was more to interact with the machines you recruit, you hack. I don't know what else would be about it, but maybe they're saving that for the next game, but some basic commands like attack, defend, distract, lead away.
Right.
Just
that makes sense. Stuff that could be input through your focus.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense.
Quick on the fly, not like anything super detailed, but if you're overwhelmed by 3 or 4 enemies, you can tell your target to lead one of them away, or to get between you and the machine so that you can heal up or whatever.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
Just simple stuff like that, and it is nice to be able to repair them, because I always felt a little bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Forgive me, my new friend. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen.
They should have had. I mean, I don't know if it would have broken the game, but I always kind of felt like it was kind of missing this, which is a long range hacker, an arrow that can either you can fire to increase the speed of your hacking, or to fire 3 or 4 to auto hack a target. I
don't know. I'm a little on the fence about that, because I think part of the tension is, especially for the big fuck off ones that will destroy you, like sawtooths and things like that. The tension is that you have to get in close. You can't just pick them off from a distance. Maybe if the arrows only worked on small fry, long legs
watchers, or long legs,
scrappers, things like that. But part of the tension for me, anyways, is the running up and bursting out of the grass and hacking this thing that's right next to you and going, oh please don't let anything notice me, please don't notice me, please don't notice me. Mm-hmm. And I like that tension. I don't necessarily think that needs to go away. But I think a hacking kind of arrow. But then again, that's kind of what the corruption bow does too. It's not as in depth as the hacking is, but there are the corruption arrows in.
Yeah, that's true.
That do kind of, now that just makes them rage on everything in the area. So it's not quite the same thing, but it provides kind of a similar function. But I get you.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And then also they should have done a bit more for inventory management, because I've never actually played a game with an inventory like this, where I was struggling to pick up new stuff. I was always whenever I play open world games like this, like Fallout or Breath of the Wild, I was always I need more inventory, I need more equipment, or I need more items to craft with. In this game, it's just you get such an abundance that you can't hold them all.
And you have a bad case of the I might need it laters.
Yeah.
The one time, I swear to God, the one time I was like, I am just gonna sell some of this stupid shit just to open up my... I sold all that, like, the desert and the slagshine glass that you get from human enemies. I sold all of that. And immediately, the next time I checked with a vendor, they had an outfit that required 10 slagshine glass. And I was like, motherfucker! And so I had to go farm slagshine glass, which wasn't fun.
Now,
yeah, sucks.
I do like the skill that you can just break down to shards, like, on the field. That was nice. Getting the one that just, like, here's 20% more inventory space was also really nice.
That was helpful to get an extra 20 slots. But still,
yeah.
You know, it's just... They need to have some sort of... even a better inventory sorting system, because the one currently is trash.
Yeah.
That's not really like a combat thing, but it still just kind of sucks. And this is a weird thing for me to say, but things in this game could stand to be more expensive, because I am rolling in shards right now. I have I have 35,000 shards.
It kind of has a problem of, like, you pick up too much and then you don't do enough with it.
Yeah, you can craft health potion. Excuse me. Health potion. No. You can craft health potions. So you never really need to buy it. Now, I always bought them because it was easier to just buy them and save the space in my inventory. But even health potions aren't that expensive.
No, but I mean, and I'm like, you know, animals are abundant literally everywhere, and you can get the meat you need to craft them super easy.
Yeah, I think the trade-off should have been that all of the shit you can make for, like, the traps, you can craft traps, you can craft potions, stuff like that. All of that shit should have just been more expensive to craft and more expensive to buy, so that I could spend my shards more. Because it weirds me out to have this much money and nowhere to put it. And I know that part of it's because it is also your ammo. Which is a weird decision, but still, I needed a way to spend more money.
I honestly wonder if, like, what if shards were just, like, another item you could pick up to craft your ammo, and there wasn't a money exchange, it was all a barter system.
I think that might have been better, because then I wouldn't be so fixated on carrying 7,000 of them. And, you know, if they took up an inventory, like, if you upped the number of inventory slots but had shards take up inventory, then
that would have been like a nice balance.
Yeah. And then just have everything be based off of bartering, with everything but shards, because it's weird that shards are the currency in the world, because you can get shards off of machines really easily. So
yeah,
it's not like bottle caps in Fallout, because the idea of currency is that it's something that's abundant enough, but also kind of scarce, that it makes it function as a good currency of exchange.
Mm-hmm. At least in the lore, and not necessarily in gameplay.
Maybe not necessarily in practice, because again, I am rolling in caps in Fallout 4, and I've only been playing for like 20 hours. In my PC save, I've already got like 1,000. And I'm like, this feels wrong, but I'm cheating. But all of that said, you know, like, the idea that shards are money in this game is kind of, this is such a nitpick. God. But it is weird, because you can just kind of get shards anywhere, so how do they have any value as a currency? It would just make more sense if everything was purchased with, you know, shit.
Yeah, if it was just like a bartering system.
Not very eloquent, but you know what I mean.
Trading, you know, goods and trading and whatnot, and not necessarily a unified currency that everyone uses.
Yeah, that's the only problem with it, really.
Yeah. But beyond that, like, the improvements they did make are a good sign of what will come, hopefully, in a sequel.
Robot dog!
Yeah, like, a constant, like, machine companion would be the best, and that would make things, like, awesome.
That would make things perfect. You would have made my favorite game ever if Horizon 2 has a robot dog in it. That's it. I'd probably play nothing else for the rest of my life. I'm like, I have a dog in this game, and it's better than Fallout. What do you mean I should be playing other video games? Fuck off, you know? Yeah, it's... Where is Horizon 2?
I know, like, hopefully this year. Hopefully
E3,
this year.
some kind. I know that it only just came out, like, last year.
Yeah, but Horizon was announced at E3 in 2015 or 2016, and it came out in 2017.
Yeah, you're right. So, I don't know, just some kind of... I will take a teaser. I will take just a picture of the box art.
Yeah, a title, Horizon, whatever its new subtitle will be.
Right. That's it.
And then 2019. I'll take that.
Sure, for sure. That's all I need. Just some kind of indication that we're getting more, because the Frozen Wilds definitely scratched an itch, but it also left me just like needing more.
And I mean, there's a reason for that, and that's because this game fucking is just sirens about a sequel.
Yeah, it's nothing. It's nothing but like sequel bait from a certain point on. It's like, look at all this sequel bait.
This starts off as like a standard DLC story. Oh, here's a new area with some new people and a side story about a kind of similar concept to the main plot, and then it just attaches itself firmly to the main plot, and then spits out like 5 sequel hooks.
And it's all really good, and you get lots of new information about the old world, which I'm really on the fence about the old world when it comes to Horizon, because on the one hand, part of the allure of Horizon's apocalypse is that the old world is completely gone, right? Like, it's been totally removed from existence, and that's kind of what makes it scary, and you don't want to ruin the scariness of that apocalypse by giving a lot of information about the old world, right?
Right.
On the other hand, the old world sounds super, super interesting, and I'm dying for more information. Like, are you kidding me?
It's fucking testament to their... Like, I think Horizon probably has the best post-apocalyptic logs in any game.
Yeah, that's fair.
And, like, fucking... every little side story about the old world, every fucking character, the holotapes, the holograms, everything, it's just like it's so much better than like anything Fallout 4 did.
Because you get so much good information about the world that feels real.
And it's all, like, centralized along a very small group of individuals. Mm-hmm. It's not, like, spread around for, like, a bunch of different people that we only get, like, a name of and then, like, a little story about them. Like,
right.
You get to know these characters in the old world through these holograms, through these, these recordings and these audio logs and their their written stuff.
Yeah, text logs.
Yeah, and it that's what makes it stand out. And there's different perspectives, and there's different groups. You got your scientist group with Cyan and Firebreaker,
right.
And you get fucking Concrete Beach Party.
Concrete Beach Party, who fucking rules? Best band ever.
Oh God! Like I was so invested in their story.
I know, and it's interesting. I think that's part of it, is that all of these audio logs are not just one rando that you never hear from again. It's the same group of people over and over again. Base Game did it too, where you just keep getting information about more and more of these people, so that when you finally kind of have that moment where you go, they all died a long time ago. It feels more impactful. Because, of course, they all died. It's that same problem with Sobek from the base game, where, logically, yes, they are all dead. But emotionally, you have that moment of, I know who these people are, and I'm invested in their story, and I know, because I finished the base game, that they all die within 10, 15 years of the recordings of these.
There we go.
That's weird. You dropped. 2.
Okay.
So, what I was saying before we had a bit of an audio hiccup there was that, like, because all of these stories aren't about some rando, because you get to know all of them, you know, through a bunch of different audio logs, that when they do eventually all go, and they did this in the base game too, you feel it. Do you know what I mean?
you really, like, it hits, because you got to know them and you got to feel them, and I think a lot of it has to do with, because most of them are audio logs, and they do the thing where they have an audio log and then you go to it in the menu and you can see, like, more written out underneath it.
Yeah, which is super good.
Yeah, that's what makes it work really, really well, especially with stuff like Concrete Beach Party, which is just these 2 girls who got caught up in the corporate side of it right before the end.
Yeah.
And, you know, their story isn't even, like, you stop getting their logs well before the actual Pharaoh Plague.
Right, yeah, like,
but,
way before.
Yeah, but you still are just, like, but, like, it's on the cusp of, like, what set that into motion, so they're kind of, like, the progenitor of it, and it's...
And it's, like, you get to know these people, and you think, oh my god, they're so charming, and their story is kind of sad, because this world they live in has them split up and they can't just kind of exist, you know. And they're kind of making a go at the end of kind of the Concrete Beach Party story. It's like, oh, they're trying to make a go of it, and you think, like, yeah, that's really sweet. And then you have that moment where you go, oh, well, they and everybody they know and everybody else that I've heard an audio log is going to be dead in 10 years.
Yeah, they did this in the base game, and it really helps set it up for the DLC and for all these characters of, like, how finite the apocalypse, the Pharaoh Plague was.
Yeah.
Like, how, you know, everything, like, there was nothing. They went the extra mile to fill in the details of, like, they tried to use a space station, and it exploded on takeoff.
Right.
You know, there was a bunker you could go into, but everyone had to be sterilized, and... You know, the people in these logs that you pick up mention, like, they cannot imagine living that long underground with just, you know, it's not living, it's like it's stagnating.
You're just waiting. Yeah, you're just kind of waiting to expire. And it's, you know, it's so... it's really sad. I feel like that's a thing I always come back to when I talk about, like, the Horizon apocalypse, is it is so... You get to know all these characters, especially Kenny Chow.
Yeah.
Kaiji Tang. Kaiji Tang doing a really good job in this game. And one of the things that kind of hit me, like, the hardest about Kenny was... Kenny is obviously brilliant, and he's smart enough to make the fire break project work, and they cap the Yellowstone caldera, and he's obviously smart. He's an engineer, I think. But... even as brilliant as he wasn't brilliant enough for Zero Dawn. So, after that last call with Cyan, like, you know he's doomed. You know?
He's not going to... You know...
Yeah.
They just make it so finite for all of this that there's nothing anyone can do about it.
And it's just you think about it, and it makes your skin crawl.
It makes this whole game, like... Once you know that about the game, like, it's still beautiful, but, like, there's something, like, sort of, like, haunting or sad about the beauty of the landscape of this map now.
Right, because it happened. It's beautiful because of something really, really horrible that happened, and it gives you kind of puts a chill down your spine because it's so scary to even think about being on the receiving end of kind of the apocalypse in Horizon is such a slow crawl towards complete and total, not just, like, societal collapse, but civilizational collapse and the destruction of, like, culture as we know it.
Yeah,
and it's so slow. The Pharaoh plague took a long time to eat everything. It took like 3 years. But that whole God, could you imagine 3 whole years of just like, oh, we're all going to die.
Yeah, like,
yeah.
And there's no chance of making it out,
Right.
This is it. This is the end, and you just have to start over.
It's haunting is exactly the word for it, and because it has that extra punch with how good the pre-apocalypse logs are of Concrete Beach Party and Kenny and Anita, and it's really good. It's really, really, really good.
And especially with Cyan, who I love, because this is Cyan is a perspective we didn't get in the base game, which is, basically someone who was around before and after. We meet Gaia. Gaia is a projection, a recording, because she had to shatter herself.
Right.
So we don't get that. We get a ghost of Gaia, basically. And, the only AIs we run into are, like, Hades and Hephaestus, who are, who were created after the plague. And we don't get a good perspective until we meet Cyan, and we kind of see how someone would react to waking up in this new world where there's nothing left.
Yeah, and Cyan is actually a very compelling character for not having a face. She's just... The voice acting is really good, and her mannerisms, in finger quotes, they're interesting. The color shift is good, and she's the way she kind of handles Aurea is really good, and that friendship is really interesting.
I really, really appreciate, like, for Gaia and Cyan, the level of understanding that they have.
Yeah.
For this society. Like, I don't know if Gaia was programmed with a human appearance, or if she developed that herself.
I think she had one. I can't remember, because I think there's a shot of her talking to Sobek in a hologram flashback, and I think she had a human appearance, but I can't remember right now.
Yeah,
so...
but either way, like, that they developed, not only the programmers, but also the in-character, or the in-game developers programmed these AIs to be as human as possible, and it really is this stark contrast kind of to the virtual intelligence of, say, of the machines, which are kind of, you get this idea of, like, well, for the most part, you're only seeing machines that are kind of mimicking animal behavior,
Right.
They're very obviously machine creatures, and there's nothing organic in them, and the striders are not grazing, they're drilling into the ground,
Right.
The sawtooths and stuff all have saws, they don't have regular claws or fangs.
Right.
Even the shell walkers are holding giant storage containers that represent hermit crab shells, but, like, it's all imitation.
Yeah.
And then you get Gaia and Cyan, who feel so human and can think and feel and adapt and empathize.
Yeah, and they can communicate on the level of this new kind of humanity. One of the things I thought is the most interesting about Cyan is that she knew kind of very quickly after meeting Aurea that she knew that she wouldn't be able to communicate with Aurea on the level that she was communicating with Anita, or
right.
with Kenny. She knew that the way to kind of contextualize her existence to Aurea wasn't, well, I am a computer program, because Aurea doesn't even know what a computer is. So instead she says, well, I'm a blue spirit, come to talk to you and tell you things.
Yeah.
And that's really nice. That's really interesting.
She refers to Hephaestus as the daemon because that's how Aurea can contextualize it.
Right.
And it shows just, like, a level of empathizing and understanding that, is almost surprising in a game like this because of how normally, when you encounter Hades and you encounter the machines, and they are very, computerized and very objective-based compared to Gaia and Cyan, especially Cyan, who you can have actual conversations with. And I love the part at the end where she asks Aloy, like, how should I handle the truth? Like, I can't keep this up anymore. How do I break it to them that, so they can understand better and we can better communicate with each other.
Right, yeah. I thought that part was good, and I think I told her to, kind of keep up the whole Blue Spirit act, just because that seems easier on everybody.
I told her to, I think I told her to, kind of feed it in slowly.
Right, break it to him slowly.
Yeah, help them understand a little better, because I think that's kind of the direction the game is, the plot is going to go in, or at least I'm predicting that for the story, is a better understanding of what machines are, and what their belief system what their representations in their belief system actually are, and how they can adapt and recontextualize that. Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, I was so impressed with Cyan's character, and
the fact that she is a character.
The fact that she is a character at all, and her voice acting was really well done. To kind of this idea of she's still like a computer, so she has a more monotone, but it's still like a friendly monotone.
Yeah,
and stuff like that, because she's kind of like the first like a demo version of Gaia, because she came before Gaia.
Right, yeah.
And so she has a lot of those same kind of friendly. You see where Gaia comes from. And I just really, I really did not expect that out of Cyan, or out of the Blue Spirit. I was expecting something way more cold and detached.
I was expecting, canned recording, data not found, etc., etc.
And Aurea was just misinterpreting it or something.
Yeah, please insert whatever memory core to restore function,
Right.
But no, she turned out to be an actual, character that you could communicate with.
And she was actually, friends with Aurea.
And you understand why Aurea was so desperate to speak to her again. Because, you get the idea, first off, that she's kind of not like an obsessive person about this. You know, but it wasn't that she was trying desperately to hear the voices in her head again. She was trying to find an actual friend.
Yeah, she was trying to get back to a friend who was basically abandoned and in danger.
Yeah, it made everything, there's a lot of characters in this game that I feel like were set up for one way, and then turned out to be very pleasantly not that.
Right, yeah, even Aurea, who, like you said, the first impulse, or the first kind of idea you get of her is that she's kind of like a crazy person. And like
a obsessive religious individual,
Yeah, because she's up on a mountain, and she's constantly, praying, and, it's kind of is she like a crazy person? Oh, no. And then you talk to her a little bit more, and it's oh no, she's actually very reasonable and deeply traumatized by what happened to her, and she just wants to get back that one comfort she had, and it was the thing she held on to keep herself sane in a incredibly traumatic period of her life, and it's really, she's well written, and I love that her and Aratak are older. I don't know, we just don't have enough cool badass old people in video games, and her and Aratak are the coolest.
And even Aratak he fits that you expect him to be the hard ass leader who is kind of authoritative and refuses to go ahead because of whatever reason, and then you find out, no, he's actually very concerned for the well-being of his people, who will willingly throw their lives at anything.
Right. And
when you do overtake him as the leader, he accepts it fully, because you have definitely proven yourself.
Yeah, you took on 3 Frostclaws. Go fuck yourself, game.
I don't know if it's set up that way or not, but when I did it, I was in the middle of a blizzard.
Yes, it's at night. It's in the middle of a blizzard, and it's just the most harrowing experience ever, and it rules. It's the worst, and it's awesome at the same time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he's just like, no, I lost fair and square. Aloy definitely has what it takes to lead this tribe, and yeah, it's just it's so good. Oh man, just. The plot in the game, in the DLC, is like really good for just a little chunk of DLC.
Yeah, I'm so pleasantly surprised that like it ties so well to the rest of the main plot, and it really feels like you know, stuff like, I guess it's easy to compare it to like say Far Harbor or Nuka World, which are very much standalone. Like you can go to them basically anytime. You know,
right?
You can go to Nuka World, I think, right as soon as you leave the vault.
You can, because I accidentally stumbled upon it. I got to the little transport center, I was like, oh, yeah. Hey, neat.
There you go. And then, like, you know, you can do Far Harbor, like, as soon as you find Nick.
Actually, you could do it before then. You can just walk to the Nakano house. But yeah.
Oh, yeah, but, like, still, but, like, you know, but this is, like we mentioned in the very beginning, like, it's Beefgate locked, like, behind a very tough enemy, so that you kind of have to do a lot of the main story, and like it ties so closely that like it only has to be like this late in the game to really understand like what's going on, and it helps it helps you understand a lot more of what happened in the old world, and also what's to come for the future of the story.
Yeah, and what's even going on in the story right now. You get an idea of oh, well, if you were at the right place in the story, you know that Gaia has split up and one of her subordinate AIs has gone insane and is subjecting these other systems to its whims. And it causes Cyan, like, physical pain, or the computer equivalent of physical pain, trying to resist it. And you know that it's... I think one of the most interesting things, and it's a really good character thing for Cyan, is she accepted the invitation to talk to Hephaestus because she was thinking, like, oh, it's a group of human survivors who are more advanced than the Banuk, so I can have some... She had, like, a very human moment of just, like, hoping, where she's like, oh, it's somebody who can really understand me, and she, you know, in the old world, that wouldn't have happened. There's no way she would have just accepted some rando signal, because she's smarter than that. But
she basically got a spam email and clicked on the link inside.
Yeah, exactly. And it fucked her up. And so you have a better understanding of what's going on in the story currently, what happened in the past, and what is to come. And, I mean, that's just really, really solid writing right there to kind of set things up and explain things more and give you more information and still tell an interesting and touching story in a really, really great game environment. Like, the Frozen Wilds is a really good-ass piece of DLC. Like, it's totally worth all $15. Oh my god.
Oh, absolutely. I like, this adds so much content. So many, like, collectibles, even, like, a whole new slew of stuff for you to pick up. And they all do really cool stuff, you know, getting...
Montana Recreation.
The Montana Recreation side quest is one of the funniest and, like, most charming things I've ever seen. You know, it's so funny to see, like... I always love that joke of, like, taking a common thing out of context, and, like, if you were to show this to someone who didn't know about it, what would they say about it, you know?
Right, like the fact that this dude thinks moose were, like, apex predators because of their giant horns, and it's like, no, they're actually just herbivores. But wouldn't that be terrifying?
Yeah.
And, like... just those little quests and the whole getting... I don't know if you did it, but if you bring that lady all of the pigments, she paints Aloy on the side of the mountain.
No, I didn't, but now I want to go do that right now.
It's really great. Yeah, I was just like, oh my god, what a good payoff! Because you get to see, like, a chunk of the world change. Like, that's a good collectible.
And they also... this is more like a visual thing, but I love, like, when you find, like, one of the first pigments you can pick up, like, one of the closest ones, is near that, like, dyeing pool.
Yeah.
Like, where they have all those, like, the ink colors, like, soaking in the water to dye their clothes, and it's like, that's just so visually cool and world building, and
Yeah, the only
It's great.
the only thing about those, and this is another stupid nitpick, so just roll with me here, is that like those pits, like the mineral pits at Yellowstone, if you jumped into those, you would be burned alive instantly.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and I jumped into one once, like as Aloy, because I was super curious, and like no, you're fine, don't worry, you can jump into them.
But I mean like. The environment has changed, so
yeah, totally.
That's why.
It's like the perfect way to hand wave away so many things in this game.
Yeah.
It's like, it's been like 2,000 years. It's fine. But that's a nitpick. That's just a stupid thing. Because they are incredibly visually striking. You're right. To just see, and I love how you can see them on the map. That's such a weird thing.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, because it's like. You see it on the map and you just go, "Ooh, what's that?" And then you go check it out, and it's this really pretty. Basically, it's just a really pretty hole in the ground.
Oh yeah, like there's nothing really in it, but it's just a nice, cool like visual, like world part of the world that you can just kind of see, and people are working in it, and it's cool.
It's just neat little details all over the game, and that's kind of what makes Horizon so much fun is the level of detail put into it in like every aspect of it.
Exactly, like every single like character, every single environment area just has so much detail and craft to it. It's one of these weird games where like the way even like the climbing works, like especially in the bit with Gildan.
Yeah.
In the dam. Like, everything you're climbing on, it isn't kind of like, it's not that standard sort of third-person game where, like, everything is kind of highlighted in kind of like a grid format, Mm-hmm. Kind of like a Tomb Raider Uncharted way where it's like, you can only shimmy across X ledge, but Aloy does a lot of scrambling and, like, shifting from, like, to climb up a wall. You'll be doing a lot of, like, jumping diagonally and climbing up ropes and then switching to, like, rebar things that are sticking out or, like, broken ladders. And there's just this nice, natural transition, like, to scale things.
Yeah, and that's just so... It's just a good show of detail, and it gives you a sense of... like the world, because those are natural things to climb on, and that's just kind of, I feel like that's what really defines Horizon ultimately, is the level of detail put into it. Horizon is the embodiment of this idea of you didn't have to do all of this. Like, if you had just made an open world game about fighting robots without all of this stuff put into it, it probably still would have been really fun, but you did anyways, and it elevates it. That's like that's kind of like the definition of Horizon is you didn't need to put in all this effort, but you did, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, there's so much care and effort and like fine detail, and we mentioned this before, but how much I love that aspect of it. Mm-hmm. The whole there's just differences in tribal clothes and outfits, and like even like. The difference between the Oseram and the Banuk, like, in their terminology.
Yeah.
The way they speak, because, like, the Oseram are kind of, like, there's a few Oseram mingled in with the Banuk, and they use different terminology and different phrases. And
they're more casual compared to the Banuk, who are more, like, rigid, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get a sense of all these different cultures. Just you run into a few Karja in the Frozen Wilds, and they have different mannerisms compared to the Banuk and the Oseram, and that's a lot of effort.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really impressive, and it's very, very cool. It's just very cool. I really would like a Horizon RPG too. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, I want just like I want another DLC pack.
Just a little one. It doesn't have to be as big as the Frozen Wilds. If you just had like a little baby area for me to like hang out in for a while longer. Can we get a player home? Can I get like a player home?
That's
DLC?
what I want more than anything.
Please? Like, I'm dying with all this shit in my inventory, guys.
I need a place to drop off my loot or like store some of my weapons and armor that I'm not using.
Yeah, I would definitely love display cases for, like, all of the armor I'm never gonna... Like, the Banuk Chieftain armor, which is cool conceptually, but I will never wear it.
Because I don't like the way it looks.
I don't like how it looks. I'm not crazy about it. It's not that great.
Did you notice that the Banuk, like, some of the equipment for the Banuk, like, Aloy's portrait wearing it is, like, shifted over a little bit?
No.
Yeah, like, I think it's
like moving it's like moving all of the furniture into your house.
Well, it's like, because like if you go through your armor, like, sets, like, in your inventory, like, you're equipping armor, like, Aloy's portrait is static, and like her clothes just change. And then there are some in the DLC that shift the portrait a little bit, like it's misaligned. And I was so unnerved by it because it wasn't right.
Now that's a nitpick.
That's a super nitpick.
That's the nittiest of nitpicks, and I respect it. I do.
But if you see it, you're like,
you can't unsee it.
That's not good.
It's like a crooked painting on a wall.
Just let me just go,
you know? Oh, I have another nitpick because it really needs to be said. You should have to, especially with all the fucking cold I've had to put up with for the last 4 weeks in this godforsaken state, you should have to wear gloves in this game. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
As soon as you get to the Frozen Wilds, a Banuk should have yanked you to the side and been like, put these on. You know?
For sure. Like, it's... And it's not what you can't even like pass it off as like that whole like, oh, it's not real cold, like, oh, it's got to be like, it's probably like in the mid 30s, like, because Aloy has a comment about the cold like every minute or so.
She's constantly going like, God, I'm so fucking cold.
Yeah,
and
like
it's
she's
like, put on a shirt then.
She's complaining about like her teeth freezing.
Yes.
Or like her eyelashes freezing shut, and it's like, yeah, it's freaking cold. Put on a coat.
Put on a coat. And some gloves. I'm begging you. I literally bought the high tier Banuk armor, not the chieftain armor, but the Banuk armor that's like really big looking and it's like looks really warm. I was like, maybe this will make Aloy stop complaining. No.
No, she always will.
She always will. I guess I get it, because even when I'm warm in the cold, I'm still bitching about the cold. But still, I was like, maybe this will help her. No, it doesn't help. You're still just cold all the time. So,
and then did you do that one quest? I felt so bad for the guy who got exiled, and they stripped him of his armor.
Oh my god, yes, that quest was great, though.
Oh, it's so cool, but I felt so bad for that guy, because like, he's like the only character that you see like completely frozen and pale.
Yeah, and you're just like, oh, you poor bastard. And then he complains about having to wear Karja clothes, and I'm like, dude, come on! I also like Aloy just constantly being like, I can't look at you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good quest. I forgot about that one until you brought it up. Man, there's a lot of good quests in this.
There's a lot of good stuff. I mean, there's a lot of good just like, you know, aside from the main plot, which is fucking amazing, and like, so much setup, but like, there's also just a bunch of fun characters, like the 3 Oseram, Gildan, Berggren, and Varja, the Hunters 3 are all just like, they're all fun, endearing characters, and God, Guerrilla did a good job writing all of them, you know?
Yeah. And they kind of fixed, speaking of the guy who got exiled, whose name I've forgotten right now, they fixed the reverse shot problem.
Yeah.
Because there's like, you know, sometimes they still have it, but it's not as much, and they vary up the shots as well. I thought there's one really good shot after when you finally finish that quest up and you're talking to that dude, and Aloy sits next to him on the ridge.
Yeah,
That was just kind of like a nice, and it's just like it's a head-on shot of them talking, and I thought that was like a really nice shot. That was impressive. Yeah,
they made the new characters a lot more animated. They're a lot more expressive, and they gesture a lot more. Especially Berggren. Like,
yeah, Berggren and Gildan, both of them are great. A+.
Oh yeah.
Gildan especially is just another one of those characters where you expect one thing and you get another. It's great. I thought for sure he was going to betray me at the end of that quest.
I thought he was either going to betray me or just be like really annoying and full of himself, and like for like, you know, a Miles Glorious just like, you know, he thinks he's way better than he actually is, but no, he's a competent adventurer in his own right, and you really warmed up to him, and you felt bad when he didn't get the looking glass he wanted.
Yeah, but then he warms up and he tells, the best part of that quest is how much he tells Aloy, like, you're amazing, and I'm like, yes, I know I am, thank you.
But thank you for saying it anyway. It's very nice to hear it, and
it's nice to be appreciated.
He's like, he even says, like, afterwards, like, he's gonna go back and tell everyone about how great you were on his adventure,
Right, and he has the best line delivery in the game, which is it's beautiful! What is it?
Yeah, just the way he says that is just that perfect, like, what is it?
I don't know what this says. I love that. Great line delivery.
He's in awe of this hollow projector, and he has no idea what it says, but he knows it's good.
He can't read English, but he knows it's a good thing. Mm-hmm. I love it. I love it. And speaking of the Asurum, the bit with Varja when she's like, yeah, I'm gonna come help you hunt a stormbird, and there's this pause and it cuts to Aloy, who's just like, excuse me?
Yeah.
And I wish I had the foresight to take a screenshot of that, because it was...
Her expression is beautiful.
It's the perfect expression, yeah. It was just like, that's ideal, yeah. That's how I feel
almost, it's almost as good as the expression that her and...
Talana?
What's her... Talana make, yeah.
When the guy in the hunting guild or the hunting lodge quest gets swatted across the room, and they're both like, "Oh!"
It's almost as good as that.
Oh, it's a really good one though. It's hard to top.
And Varja and Bergrand are both really great. And
yeah, they're fun. They're just fun.
I wish that they had interacted each other more, because I want to see those personalities clashing,
right? Because they make it he's her dad, but they kind of see it's they bicker, and they're better as business partners than as like a family.
Yeah, they make it seem like they're kind of like going through a rough time or whatever, and it's like I still want to see a bit of that happening in front of me, because they are both such like bright personalities,
right? So obviously the answer is more.
Yeah, more Horizon.
Like, more Horizon would be nice. You wouldn't hear me complain.
I don't know what part will be next. Like, what part of this do you go to? Do you follow up on the Hades thing? Do you follow up on trying to track down the other AIs that have escaped? Do you focus? God forbid, do you focus on a brand new character in a brand new part of the world?
Nah, they won't do that. Aloy's the chosen one.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but I mean, like,
the fantasy character chosen one.
But I mean, like, they might do the thing where, like, the second game focuses on a new character, and then the third game is back to Aloy.
Maybe. That hopefully not, but that could happen. There's plenty of setup for a lot of things. Speaking of setup, we got backstory for Silence. Not a lot, but enough.
But a good bit. And I love, I do love that whole thing where Silence, like, the first thing you do when you enter the Frozen Wilds is Silence is like, hey, don't go to the DLC area. Why are you going to the DLC area? Don't do that. And then
Aloy's like, get fucked.
And then, Silence is like, don't ask questions about me. And all she does is ask questions about Silence to anyone she can, knowing full well that he can hear
her. Yeah. Just straight up knowing that Silence is eavesdropping, and it's just like, hey, can you tell me some shit about this guy?
Do you have any good gossip about Silence?
I'm dying for some shit on this one dude, because he is a complete asshole. I like that Aloy was like, I'm chief now, so you actually have to tell me this gossip bullshit.
She pulled rank for once in her life.
It was perfect! You do Aloy.
She's like, I don't want this job, really, but now that I can, I'm going to pull rank.
I'm going to use it for what I want, and what I want is some shit on this one dude I know. So, gimme. It's great.
Like, and I hope we go to, like, a brand new area,
California, that's what I'm aiming for. We're close to California.
I want a coastal city would be awesome.
Oh man, and how, right?
Boats and aquatic machines,
Mm-hmm.
Give me some dog. And a dog, yes.
That's all I want.
Give me some fucking robot sharks to fight.
No, that's horrible. Yeah. Snap maws are already bad.
Harpoon gun.
That would be cool. I am into the idea of like a harpoon rope. Man, okay, shit. Now we're just spitballing. But imagine like a harpoon gun that like the only way you could fight like a shark robot thing is you have to pull it onto deck with you. Like if you're on a boat, you know?
Oh, that would be awesome.
Like it's attacking your boat, and the way you like fight it is you have to pull it onto deck with you. How cool would that be?
That would be so fucking cool.
That would be the dopest thing. Man, we're full of great ideas. Come on.
We are.
Man, alright.
We could fucking write a Horizon game.
Ah, we could totally do a Horizon game. We're cool kids. Yeah, for sure.
There's just... What? Go ahead.
Boss fights.
Oh, yeah, fucking before we wrap up.
Before we go, the one thing we have to talk about is the Fireclaw.
We didn't talk about that fucking Fireclaw fight, that fucking sumo wrestling bear.
It's a fucking sumo, it's a fucking WWE bear.
It does fucking body splashes and elbow drops on you.
It does like a suplex.
Yeah, it literally gets up on the top rope and it jumps off on you. I was expecting like Zangief to burst in and come in for the assist because
it's amazing.
I'm like, are you fucking serious?
Are you
making me fighting a wrestling robot bear that shoots fire everywhere?
That's such a video games thing. A wrestling robot bear that shoots fire at you, and everybody at Gorilla is like, "Yep, that sounds dope." Mm-hmm.
Well, you what is it you fight for? You fight a
Thunderjaw?
Yeah, a demonic Thunderjaw.
Mm-hmm.
That is just gigantic, and like, what else can you fight besides that? And then, we've got more.
But wait, there's more, and it's horrible.
It's just a giant fucking fire bear that body splashes you,
and it's like the most intense fight. Like
and just like the claws beneath, like it lasts just long enough.
Oh yeah,
like you feel like there's no way to cheese it out and like easily win. Like you have to fucking fight this thing.
Right, and man, that was a good, satisfying moment of my life when you're finally done with it, and I was just like, "Fucking die!"
Yeah.
And that's like when you're that ready, like when you're not frustrated, but you just want to win, and you get that rush of like adrenaline and all those good just feelings. You're like, "Yeah, that was awesome!" And then,
and then the game is the best ever because it's like, 5 of them escaped. And now there's 5 of them roaming around. I guess you gotta go kill the other 5 fire claws.
More fire bears. Man, you don't want to go have more badass boss fights, do you? Horizon knows full well that I want to go have more badass boss fights.
Speaking of that, you know what? Maybe, what if...
Oh no.
They're not gonna do this. What if they fucking just fold it, like... Aloy's gonna be in Monster Hunter World, right? Like that's
like a downloadable character or something. Yeah.
What if that is canon? What if that somehow becomes canon?
That would be amazing. Like there's actual monsters also just running around. That would be great. Are you kidding me?
That would be because for one thing they have the Death Stranding cameo in base game.
Right. That's right.
So what if like they have like what if they do like the crazy high school rumor thing in Horizon 2, where like you just see a Monster Hunter boss like roaming around.
What if it's just like one Monster Hunter boss just running around Horizon 2? Would that not be the dopest thing in the world?
That would be the fucking like
that
best
would blow
like
my
prove
mind.
It. You know, like
yes.
I fought an actual Monster Hunter boss, an actual dinosaur was here, and they'd be like, "No, you fucking didn't."
That would be
bullshit.
amazing. That would be amazing. Please,
just this weird random trigger. Like, there's no reliable way to trigger it. You just have to kind of find it
and hope. Oh man, that would be awesome. Please, that sounds so cool. Yeah, for sure. Hey, Aloy is in Monster Hunter World, so we need a monster in Horizon 2. Make it happen.
I think that's going to be like how I have to scratch the itch until Horizon 2 comes out.
Yeah, just to
fucking
keep playing
Monster Hunter World.
Yeah, I know. Like, I really do. This is so off topic now, but whatever. I really do want to play Monster Hunter, but my backlog is so ridiculous right now.
I know.
And I'm replaying 2 games on top of it. So, like, Monhun is gonna have to wait. I'm so sorry. Too many videos. Yeah, I thought 2018 was supposed to be a slow year.
Well, you know, at least the nice thing is they're kind of front-loaded in like, the early months.
Right.
Like, fucking Dragon Ball Fighters is coming out in a few days. Actually, no. Fighter Z and Monhun are in the same day.
Are they really? I thought Monster Hunter was already out.
No, they had a long-running beta.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's because I saw Pat talking about it on Twitter.
They had like a really long beta, and then Fighters put out like another beta.
Okay.
Like I think it's ongoing right now, or like it's just closed. But yeah, that's coming out Friday. Friday. Both of them are coming out Friday, and so that's gonna. Oh boy.
Well, rip your weekend.
Yeah. Well, you're going out of town, so I'm gonna just fucking play Fighters.
Just play Dragon Ball Z all weekend while I'm at an anime convention. That's fine. Mm-hmm. That works.
But no, like fucking. Hopefully, fingers crossed for Horizon at E3.
Something.
Just a title card or something.
A little bit. Just a little tiny baby
a
hit.
teaser. Show me a picture of Aloy. You know, I know. I say I don't never get hype about like cinematic trailers, but if you just showed me a picture of Aloy in like
some new armor, or
something? And like a new armor set, or like on like a beach, I'd be like,
yeah, because see, Horizon we know is good, so you can get hype for just like a teaser picture for Horizon 2, because we're like, Horizon is reliably good, so it's fine. If Horizon Zero Dawn 2, or whatever the fuck they end up calling it, is just exactly the same as 1, but set on a beach instead, with like some new locales and some new like monsters and shit, I'm good.
Yeah, I don't need much more. Like,
that's it.
Frozen Wild proved that like I don't need much besides like a change of environment. It's kind of the same thing as like Phoenix Wright. Like, I don't need new mechanics. I just need a different like environment.
Right, and you know, a player home and a dog.
Yeah, player home and like a dog are reliable.
What?
A customizable robot that you can build your own friend.
And then you can spend your shards on...
Gorilla, are you listening? Idea. I'm gonna tweet this at Gorilla like every day.
Be like, I want a customizable robot dog friend.
Just like, Gorilla, please listen to the last like 10 minutes of this podcast where we talk about what we want in the sequel, and like take it to heart.
We want dogs. We always want dogs. That's it, okay? So is that it?
I think so, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you to Visager for use of our background music. You can email us your cool ideas for Horizon 2. What kind of robot companion would you want in Horizon 2? At thegorgepodcast@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter at thegorgepodcast. And you can also listen to Sarah's other podcast, which is...
Hey, I'm in another podcast. It's called Big Gay Nerds. It's an LGBT live play RPG podcast. Yes, nailed it. Where me and a bunch of cool friends get together and play tabletop games together. We try out a bunch of different systems and have different stories every month. Right now we're playing Blades in the Dark, which is like a rad hybrid of Dishonored and Thief. With like a cool pseudo-steampunk setting, so you should come check us out. It's a lot of fun. It's at Big Gay Nerds on SoundCloud, and all of our social media stuff is linked from there.
And their characters in Blades in the Dark campaign are fucking great.
Because we all have stupid goddamn accents. It's the best. Every single one of us is doing a really dumb accent right now, and I'm so proud. We have, like, a dude talking like Vincent Price. We have one guy doing a bad Russian accent, one guy doing a bad German accent, and I do a bad British accent. So you should totally come check it out, because it's stupid, and I love it.
Oh, it's great.
Right. Is that it?
So that'll do it for us. What should we end it with?
Fuck the 3-bear Frostclaw
Fuck the Frostclaw. Fuck that triple Frostclaw fight.
Because that was the only time playing that DLC that I actually screamed out loud, "Are you fucking me right now?"
My problem with that was I ran out of long shot arrows and ran out of cable to make more with. So I had to switch to my quick bow.
Oh, so sad. So sad. So yeah,
so
fuck that shit.
Good night,
everyone.